May I have your attention, please? If everybody could please take a seat. If everybody could please take their seats so we can get started. I would like to thank everybody for taking the time to come out today for our public hearing with regard to redistricting in Georgia. I am Mitch Seabaugh. I am the senator from the 28th Senate District, which represents Coweta County and Carroll County, Heard County, and Troup County. I would also, at this time, if I could, go ahead and the members of the Senate Redistricting Committee to please stand. And I would like to give those members an opportunity to just say their name and for what part of where their district is.
I'm Senator John Bullock. I represent the 11th District in Southwest Georgia. That includes Thomas, Mitchell, Grady, Decatur, Seminole, Early, Colquitt, Miller. I think that's all of them.
I'm Steve Henson, Senator from the 41st District, which is parts of Gwinnett and parts of DeKalb County. Thank you.
My name is Vincent Ford. I serve the 39th District, which is mostly in the city of Atlanta and parts of East Point Hall in Fulton County.
My name is Ed Harbison. I'm from the 15th Senatorial District. That's Columbus, Georgia, and I represent Fort Benning. Thank you.
Any other committee members from the Senate side? With that, we have members of the Senate that are here that are not members of this committee, but they faithfully serve in the Senate in many other capacities. I'd like to give them the opportunity to introduce themselves, please.
Good evening. I'm Senator Harsina Tate. I represent the 38th District, which is in Fulton County, City of Atlanta.
Good afternoon. Freddie Powell Sims, District 12. I have Clay, Calhoun, Terrell, Mitchell, Baker, Randolph, Doherty. I have 8 counties in Southwest Georgia, and that's District 12. Thank you.
I don't see anybody else from the Senate. With that, I will let my counterpart in the House introduce himself and the House members that are here for this evening's hearing.
Good afternoon. It's great to be here in Albany. I'm Roger Lane, and I'm chairman of the House Reapportionment and Redistricting Committee. I represent House District 167, which is down on the coast, McIntosh County, Long County, Glenn County, and Wayne County. And it's a pleasure to be here with y'all. We have several of our House committee members here with us. If y'all would introduce yourselves to the audience and tell them what part of the state you represent.
I'm Tom Dixon, and represent the 6th House District, which includes parts of Whitfield, Murray, and Catoosa counties.
I'm State Representative John Yates. My district is 73. I live in North Spalding County, and that's in the Griffin area, and I represent also Fayette, Henry, and Spalding County. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Willie Tarleton. I represent District 145, which is Warner Robins, Georgia, and Robins Air Force Base.
Good evening. I'm Representative Lynn Smith. Been here several times and always enjoy being a guest of Albany and seeing all of your different sites in the surrounding areas. I'm from Noonan, Georgia. I represent part of Coweta and part of Heard County. Thank you.
I'm Ellis Black from Valdosta. I represent the 174th, which includes Eccles County, part of Lowndes, Brooks, and a part of Thomas.
Good afternoon. I'm State Representative Ed Reinders. Good to see so many of my friends here today, and also welcome all of our friends from the metropolitan Atlanta area and the rest of the state. I represent House District 152, which is parts of Lee, Daugherty, Worth, and Colquitt counties.
And if there are any House members that are not on the committee that are here, if you'd introduce yourselves, we'd appreciate it. I think that's all from the House side.
We could not have had the opportunity to have a meeting like this without the help of some people that have been busy working to get the chairs arranged, the sound systems, the maps up. So I would like for all of those from the General Assembly, House, and Senate staff members that are here and help to set these meetings up in any way. If you'd please stand, and if you're standing, just raise your hand for everybody to at least acknowledge you, please. We'd also like to say a big thank you to the City of Albany and to Albany State University for hosting us. If there's any representatives from the city or from the university that are here, if you could also stand or raise your hand so that we could acknowledge you too, please. With that, I appreciate the fact that, first of all, am I too loud? Okay. Sometimes you never know, and I'm not going to sing in it to really test it. But anyway, we appreciate the fact that you've opened up your city and your university for us to come and have an opportunity to do something that most people don't think that elected officials do much of, and that's listen. This meeting is intended for you, the public, to come and to make your comments to those who will be making the decision as to what our district maps will look like when we come into special session in August. Just for some background, redistricting is a process that we are required to do at least every 10 years to adhere to the one person, one vote. And as we go through this process, we have a special session, and that gives us time to get all of the data that we need when it comes to the census information. And then we have these public hearings. We go around the state to get input from the citizens. And then we have to sit down, and the committee on both the House and the Senate will sit down and start drawing the maps. And then after we do the House and Senate maps, we get to do, which is a little bit more fun, is deal with the congressional maps. And that takes more cooperation between the two chambers and to go through and to come up with one map of what the congressional districts will be. This meeting is being videotaped. I want to make sure that everybody understands that your comments are public comments. We have videotape that will capture this. And this meeting, as all public hearings that we will have on this process, will be posted on our website that we have. Feel free to go to www.legis. I'm always curious, does anybody ever write this stuff down? Is anybody writing this down? I'll go slower if you are. Okay. www.legis.ga.gov, and you can click on our website, and that way you will be able to you can view all the public hearings if you wish. You can also have opportunity for any kind of public comments. As I said, this meeting is for us to hear from you. In order to do that, have a few ground rules. If you are interested in speaking, at the back of the room there's a sign-up sheet. I would ask that you would go, and if you would please sign up there so that they'll bring it up here, and then we get an opportunity to call you up here. When you get called, if you'll come to this podium, stand at this podium, and make your comments, please make sure that the microphone is held to where people can hear from you. You do not need to look at Chairman Lane and myself as you speak, because the committee members that are here are the ones that are be a part of this process, so talk to them in communicating what your ideas are. If you want to speak and you cannot come to the podium when I call your name, if you just let us know, we will bring a microphone to you. In order that we can make sure to give opportunity for everybody to be heard, we're asking you that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. We have a timer that will be right here, and we ask that you respect the time of everybody else, that when your time is up and you've been told that the time is up, if you would please just go ahead and to give up the mic. So with that, and I will say right off the bat, there's going to be a little comic relief in this, When it comes to pronouncing people's names, I am probably the world's worst with that. I will tell you that where I grew up, Seabaugh, which is spelled S-E-A-B-A-U-G-H, is a name in a town of 37,000. It was the most common name in the town, believe it or not. Yes, there were more Seabaughs than there are Smiths in the town of Cape Girardeau. So I grew up with a very common name. It was after I left that I found out people had difficulty spelling my name and pronouncing my name. So the curse that I have on that is that I'm not good at it myself. So if I mispronounce your name, please don't take any offense to that. I'm doing the best that I can. When you do come to the podium to speak, please, the first thing, please give your name and give where you're from, if you would, please. That way we'd have for the public record, because there may be somebody that wants to follow up with you later with additional comments or questions. And so if you'll give your name and where you're from. With that, Chairman Lane, do you think of anything that we need to? We will go till at least 6 o'clock. And at 6 o'clock we will take a break. So if there's anybody that wants to sign up, or if we have additional members of the General Assembly show up, when we reconvene shortly after 6 o'clock, we'll be able to recognize them. Okay. With that, we will start in the first person. I apologize if I'm not going to get this right. Schley Ricketson. Schley.
This input concerns the U.S. Congressional District 2 based on the 2010 census.
If you could please give your name and where you're from so that we can.
I thought we did that. Sly Ricketson, Donaldsonville, Seminole County. To meet the redistricting criterion of 0% deviation among districts, District 2 must gain 60,002 people. In adding 60,002 people to District 2, I request it be done by applying the criterion of maintaining communities of interest. That is, District 2 is predominantly small town, rural, and farming. Redistricting changes should reestablish and maintain those community characteristics. In addition, the addition of urban areas during redistricting would counter the principle of maintaining communities of interest. Further, it would increase the current minority imbalance in District 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Maria Ricketson and Mike Cowan, if he's here, if you stand on deck, be ready.
As you probably figured out, my husband and I arrived first, so we're 1 and 2. Maria Ricketson, Donaldsonville, Seminole County. Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 required all 50 states to pre-clear any changes in voting laws with the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department. Currently, 9 states are still under Section 5 regulation, including Georgia. And these hearings across the state are being held to prepare for this pre-clearance requirement. The Georgia voter ID law requiring photo identification was passed by the Georgia legislature in 2005 and pre-cleared by the Justice Department without exception, as the Justice Department found there would be no discriminatory impact on minority voters. However, in 2005, civil rights groups in Georgia, including the NAACP, Georgia League of Women Voters, Common Cause of Georgia, and Black Clergy of Metro Atlanta, and 2 individual plaintiffs filed suit in federal court in Rome, Georgia. Bottom line was that over 2 years of litigation by plaintiffs' lawyers found not one single case of voter disenfranchisement due to the Georgia voter ID law. Federal Judge Harold Murphy, a very liberal Democrat, found no basis for any of the plaintiffs' arguments. In fact, it has been shown that in the 2008 statewide primary election, after imposition of the Georgia voter ID, there were 1 million more votes cast than in the 2004 election, prior to voter identification. Further, there were 100,000 more Democrat primary voters than Republican votes, with minority voters predominantly voting Democrat. The brief and simplistic review of this, I have to tell you, by a retired kindergarten teacher, not a lawyer, is intended to lay the groundwork for requesting that the state of Georgia begin the bailout process, seeking exemption from Section 5, preclearance, of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. The bailout standard requires that a covered jurisdiction show a non-discriminatory voter system currently in place and during 10 years prior to the application, a thorough investigation of the Georgia voter ID law showed not one case of voter disenfranchisement. With that evidence and the federal court rulings in Georgia's favor, the time has come to remove the long arm of the U.S. Justice Department from Georgia voter law. My last sentence is, as part of the committee's redistricting effort, I request that the committee take action to have representatives of the state of Georgia begin the bailout process.
Time. Thank you. Mike Cowan. Dan Bollinger on deck.
Thank you. I'm Mike Cowan. I'm from the big city of Coolidge, Georgia, in Thomas County. I want to come today and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you about the 2nd Congressional District. I know when it comes to drawing maps from the 2nd Congressional District or from the congressional districts that the state most of the time takes their lead from the folks in Washington. But I want to remind you that it's your responsibility as committee members and as the legislature to do what's right for all the people of Georgia. For many years now, conservatives in the 2nd District have labored in a gerrymandered district that's been intended to re-elect the incumbent. Only last year did we mount a serious challenge to the incumbent that was first elected in 1992. In the 2010 election, conservatives proved that we have a chance to win. We won 20 of the 32 counties in the 2nd Congressional District and over 48% of the vote. And so I come to just ask you to please consider two things. Most of the 2nd Congressional District is rural and has nothing in common at all with Columbus or Muskogee County. That part of South Muskogee that is in the 2nd District is clearly gerrymandered to ensure the incumbent be reelected. I'm asking that the committee consider taking Muskogee out of the 2nd District and including other rural agricultural areas like the rest of Worth County or some of Lowndes County. I'm also asking you to continue to give conservatives a halfway fighting chance in the 2nd Congressional District. Please don't add to our burden by making a deal and leaving us without a chance. The deal-making in politics only adds to the distrust Americans have for our government and for those in elected office. By drawing these maps, you can sentence us to 10 more years of liberal leadership, or you can give us a chance to change our own destiny. I'm asking you just to give us a chance. I'm asking you to put politics aside and consider the people of the 2nd Congressional District first. Thanks.
Mr. Yates, would you stand up? I meant to say this earlier, and I apologize that I didn't. Mr. Yates be 90 this year and is a World War II veteran. So I'd like you all to give him an applause. Thank you very much, and for all of our veterans, thank you very much. But I wanted to point him out for a certain reason, is that I forgot to say at the beginning, if you have a cell phone, please turn it off or put the all alerts off, because if it goes off, I'm going to get Mr. Yates to take care of you, and I've heard his story of when he served, and believe me, we don't want that. He doesn't have any artillery with him, but you handle it, you handle it. All right, Dan and Margene Boyd on deck.
Probably the one name that he could get correct tonight is mine because we grew up about 15 miles from each other, to tell you the honest truth. My name's Dan Bollinger. I'm Executive Director of the Southwest Georgia Regional Commission in Camilla. And I want to give you a little background first with some statistics. We cover 14 counties and 44 cities. Nearly 6,000 square miles of the richest agricultural land in the state of Georgia. We have an abundant water supply that we use heavily for irrigation purposes. We've got great natural areas, raise a lot of pecans, peanuts, and pine trees. Yet economically, we continue to decline. We've had nearly 3,400 jobs lost since 2005. We have no interstate. We've got one four-year public institution of higher education and one private. We've got two two-year or junior colleges and 3 technical colleges. Our per capita income continues to lag behind the balance of the state and the nation significantly, from 20 to 30% less than the state or national incomes. Although we have nearly 150,000 of our 356,000 people employed, currently we run a 10% unemployment rate, but there again behind the national state average of 9%. Any loss of a district in our region equals loss of influence. And if you look at the maps of negative indicators, population, income, and employment, we are the region in the state that needs help. All of the maps show the severe southwest corner as having the most issues to deal with anything. We're looking for a hand up, not a handout. Any dilution of the leadership in our region creates a void and continues to lead to a disconnect between us and Atlanta. In conclusion, I'd like to say you have a nearly impossible task, and I understand that. But I implore you to take a close look at the numbers and help us in this region, rich in resources, but poor economically. Thank you.
Thank you. Margene Boyd. And Kelvin, is it Bowie? You're on deck. No comment?
Hi, I'm Dr. Margene Boyd, and I am from Decatur County, and I'm glad to be here today. I would just like to ask you, we realize in South Georgia that most of the population growth in Georgia took place in the northern part, but please do not overlook Southwest Georgia. We are one of the leading counties in this area of the state, are one of the leading parts of the state in farm gate value, and you should certainly take that into consideration when you are trying to determine what counties you would have represent us. For some time, we have heard of the 2 Georgias, and I think you know what I mean by that. It's been the Atlanta and metropolitan area, and then it's been South Georgia. So I would like to ask you to consider looking on behalf of Southwest Georgia residents who often do not have the resources nor the means to access what those in the metropolitan areas have. And again, I repeat what some of the others have said. We do need communities of interest to be considered. We do need socioeconomic factors to be considered because we do need a voice in Atlanta.
Okay. Reverend Henry Mathis. Has Gerald, can you go see if we have more?
Chairman Lane, Chairman Seabock, and to my delegation, Senator Freddie Powell Sim, Representative Ed Reinders, and Representative Winfred Dukes, and to all of the distinguished guests from the Georgia General Assembly. We know that your travel here has been a pleasant one, and as you're here, we like to invoke you to spend a few dollars, as you've already done, and we'd certainly appreciate it. We know that this is a difficult task that is presented to the people of this great state each 10 years, and we applaud you for that, and we thank you. we know that the population in Georgia, as it currently stands at 9,687,653, has experienced an 18.3% increase in population. We know that that population increase has been to the reverse in the migration of this 21st century as opposed to the migration of the early years of the 1950s and 60s, where there was a migration to the north. We now are experiencing a migration back to the south and to the warmer areas. With that migration comes one man, one vote. With that migration comes an opportunity for you to draw district lines that will mirror or reflect the population, the socioeconomic status, and the overall health, education, and welfare of this great city. So we will employ you as you look at redrawing these lines. We know based on the numbers that have been presented from the census that we stand to gain a +1 seat. Now, there are those who would run and seek public office, and we applaud each of them, as I once was one, a former elected official, but now a severed limb. However, I can shout continuously from the sideline, for which I'm doing today. And my shout from the sideline is that in your deliberation, after having heard from us here in Southwest Georgia and throughout the state, that you would reach down in the vault of your infinite wisdom and your courage and your humbleness to do right and create districts that will be well representative and reflective of the people in this area. There are several things that we trust would not happen. One, we trust that there will not be any packing. We trust that we will not move from the 2nd Congressional District a portion of perhaps, which has been said.
Thank you. Again, we're trying to limit so everybody has an opportunity to speak, but you can make your comments to the committee. You can go online, you can submit writings or whatever, make sure that it'll be part of the record. Jonathan Jones with Donna Driscoll on deck.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm Jonathan Jones from Tifton, Georgia, Tift County, and we're in the low population growth area of our south central Georgia. And my request is real simple and brief, but it's just to keep our county together in its representation from the state house, possibly state senate or any subdivision. We've been represented by as many as 3 state house representatives at one time, and it just doesn't make logical sense in a county our size.
Okay, Donna, is it Dino Henry Mathis? Oh, that's right. You signed up twice. Fred Hevelin on deck.
Hi, I'm Donna Driscoll with Dougherty County. Didn't know I was going to get to speak, but I have more questions than I do information. I've heard communities of interest here a lot, and this is my first redistricting experience, so I did some research, and that is our main thing. We are an agricultural community. We work together in that aspect, and when you combine us with a metropolitan voice like Macon or parts of Muskogee, you delete that voice, and we need as much representation as we can get. I have 2 questions for you. I don't know if you can answer questions today or not. I want to know how we can get a copy of the maps before April 15th, and will there be a discussion period after those maps are presented to the legislator? Anybody?
This is for the purpose of public comment, and if we go back and forth, then we take away time for people to be able to make comment. I'm sure there will be somebody that will be more than happy to help you with that at some point in time. Bryce Johnson's on deck.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Assembly and the Senate,
citizens, Georgia. We in Thomas, I'm Fred Hevlin, I'm from Thomasville, Georgia. We are tired of being part of 3 House districts and 2 Senate districts. And actually, I think when they started, they put John in the 4th district and put a little strip all the way up to Lee County. We would like to be held together as one community. And this also occurred in the 2nd Congressional District. They took out parts of Valdosta out of the 2nd Congressional District, and they also took parts of Tifton out of the 2nd Congressional District in order to make it more liberal. We don't think we should be dividing communities up. Let's have the whole communities in, the whole counties in, if you can do it, and keep them together. Thank you.
Thank you. Bryce Johnson and Brad Hughes on deck.
Thank you, Senator Seabaugh and Representative Lane and members of the committee. I'm Bryce Johnson from Tift County. I'm currently the Solicitor General of Worth County and the Assistant Solicitor General in Tift County. And the topic I wanted to address was on the legislative side rather than congressional, but to do with splitting counties. We realize that in southwest Georgia, there's a particular challenge in drawing House and Senate districts because of the slower growth in population from our part of the state compared to Atlanta, and also the fact that we have the Alabama border and the Florida border to contend with. But I just wanted to point out to the committee that in the 2 counties that I'm involved in local government with, we have 1 state senator currently, the 13th Senate District. And that works pretty well for us, that we have 1 go-to person in the Senate. On the House side, Tift County, we are split in 2, with Representative McBrayer and Representative Roberts, and also in Worth County with Representative Reinders and Representative Hardin. And likewise, if the committee and the General Assembly can at all possible keep our counties from being split as much as possible, as Mr. Hevlin said before, when a county split 3 ways, that just makes it very difficult for local government officials to have 1 or 2 people they can go to when an issue comes up. But again, thank you all for coming to Southwest Georgia.
Thank you. Brad Hughes, Don Cole on deck.
I'm Brad Hughes from Early County, Blakely, Georgia. We appreciate you gentlemen and ladies being here tonight to hear our concerns. I want to speak to both the House, Senate, and then the Congressional District. Unlike everyone else who has spoken in Early County, we're perfectly content if we have more than 1 state representative. We really kind of don't really want to lose our state senator, so we'd like to stay kind of where he is because John Bullock takes such good. We'll just move to wherever you move him if you move. That's how we'll work that. But in Early County, we're working so hard and spending a lot of money and a lot of time and effort on economic development. And while I do understand the communities of interest issue, and I understand wanting to keep the representation of your county under 1 person, I also realize that having more than 1 person who would be doing their best to help with our efforts and to promote our interests would be helpful to us. So we don't ask for it necessarily, but we want to be on record of saying that in Early County, if that should happen, with the challenges you face of all the parameters you have to work within, and with our whole western border being Alabama and not far to the south being Florida, we understand that may be a reality, and we'll be okay with that. On to the 2nd Congressional District. Now, for those of us who work within the confines of the 2nd Congressional District, it is a massive piece of real estate. We understand with the population changes that cannot change, that the size of the district will increase. I just would like to reiterate what's already been said, the importance of agriculture and agribusiness within this district. It is a difficult process for us to have to negotiate different areas and the different challenges that are there, but one thing that we all have in common is the size of the district based on our agricultural interests. So if we could have some of our population makeup come from rural counties, that would give our Congressman Bishop and his staff more of an effort at focusing on one thing, we would appreciate that. Further, as you all know who've driven down here from Atlanta, there are definitely challenges in traveling from the northeast corner near Macon to the southwest corner near Bainbridge and Donaldsonville. So as we realize that our size will increase and those things will change, we would appreciate efforts to maybe go to the east, the southeast, the northwest, those areas that would make it easier for us to be able to get around in the confines of this district. The size of it we know will grow. We understand that. We understand the population shift. And when everybody in Atlanta realizes that we have water and don't have traffic, we hope they're going to move back down here, and that'll change next time. So thank you.
Don Cole with William Perry on deck.
I want to thank you all for coming to Southwest Georgia to hear from the citizens regarding the important process of redistricting. My name is Donald Cole from Crisp County, Cordele. I will provide a copy of my remarks for your records there, and I've given you several copies. I've had the honor of representing the 2nd Congressional District of Georgia in 2 different ways, one in the political process and secondly the public policy process. Served as chairman of the 2nd Congressional District of the Georgia Republican Party and also as the 2nd District representative on the Georgia Board of Human Resources, where I served for 6 years, and I now serve as chairman of the Georgia Board of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities. The redistricting process is one that is vital to our republic and our state in assuring that the communities of interest have proper and proportional representation in the state, General Assembly, and in the U.S. House of Representatives. And I come this afternoon to offer brief comments on both the state legislative districts and the congressional districts. First, with regard to the state legislative districts, we here in Southwest Georgia knew that there was a population shift and that there is a high likelihood that we're going to lose seats in the House and the Senate. I don't want to see that happen, but we recognize the reality of the shifts in population. I believe that the recognition of that reality was a big factor in the number of representatives who changed to the Republican Party after the last election. Now, as a Republican, I'm delighted to have these new members. However, if we are going to lose seats, and if the committee has to make a determination between the district of a legislator who ran as a Republican and was elected as a Republican, and the district of a legislator who changed parties after the election, then I respectfully request that where all other factors are similar, the preference go to the legislator who ran and was elected as a Republican. This is not fair this is fair only to the legislature and to the voters. Second, with regard to the congressional district, Southwest Georgia is rural and agricultural area. Agriculture is the largest, if not the largest, part of the Georgia economy. In keeping with the concept of communities of interest, the rural agricultural district needs to be representative. The 2nd District has more counties than any other district, may be the largest geographically, and in the last congressional election, it was the urban area of Columbus, tiny little spot over there in the corner, that carried a disproportionate weight in the congressional election. There is a vast difference between the communities of interest found in downtown Columbus, Georgia, and the peanuts of Worth County, the cotton of Terrell County, and the watermelons of Crisp County. I respectfully request that you draw congressional lines that align with the communities of interest. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to address you, and I'll be glad to answer any questions anyone has. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, L. Holloway Sr.
William Perry.
Yeah, go ahead, William, I'm sorry. But L. Holloway Sr.'s on deck.
Okay, thank you. My name is William Perry. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm the Executive Director of Common Cause Georgia and here representing the Georgia Redistricting Alliance. Thank you, both Mr. Chairmans and members of the committee, as well as the people of Albany for hosting today's hearing. I don't think, in looking at the history of redistricting in Georgia, we can quickly come to the conclusion that districts are drawn for political parties and not the people that live within these boundaries. We have to look no further than the last general election in November of 2010, where 93% of the Georgia legislative districts were non-competitive. There were 65% of the names on the ballot faced no opposition in the general election, and one party received 100% of the vote. If you raise that standard to say, we're not even going to call it a close election, we're going to say one candidate where there were 2 names on the ballot received at least 60% of the vote, wiped out their competition completely, that raises it up to the level in the 90s. In the House, it's 96%, excuse me, in the Senate it's 96% of the districts. In the House, it's 92%. Those districts are drawn to represent the parties, not the people. So we hope when the committee is drawing these maps that you'll consider 5 standards that we feel are important to fair redistricting. 1, that no plan or district shall be drawn with the intent to favor or disfavor a political party or an incumbent. That usually gets a little laugh. Districts shall not be drawn with the intent to result or denying the abridging the equal opportunity of minorities. Districts shall consist of a contiguous territory, and to the extent feasible, districts shall be compact. Pursuant to the principle of one person, one vote, districts shall be equal in population as possible. And where feasible, apportionment plans shall make use of existing city, county, geographical boundaries, and other similar communities of interest. When you're taking time to consider these maps, I hope that you will not only consider what people are saying across the state in these hearings, but also as we continue these hearings, and it seems like we almost take more time on breaks and introducing members of the legislature as we do public comment. I think the necessity of the breaks might allow us to increase the amount of time that citizens have an input, maybe give each citizen 1 more minute to finish their thoughts and their conjecture. I know they have the opportunity to present their thoughts, the rest of them, in an email or letter, but giving them perhaps 1 more minute to finish their thoughts, since it is such a limited time and these are such important issues. And with that, I will turn over the rest of my 3 minutes, and thank you very much.
Thank you. L. Holloway Sr., Hank Young on deck.
Mr. Chairman, state representatives, state senators, ladies and gentlemen, I rise to express my concern about the 2nd Congressional District. I think we have a fine district. I heard some talk about taking Muskogee and Columbus out. I heard some talk about 2 Georgias. Well, if we push the 2nd Congressional District any further, we're going to be in the state of Florida. So I think we need to look at what we got. We need to nourish what we got. We want more jobs. We want industry to come in here. But if we wean the 2nd Congressional District any weaner than it is right now, who's going to come down here? Who's going to think about here? Mr. Chairman, I think that you need to take serious consideration and let things stay packed as they are. Right now, it's hard enough. Don't look at it from a political game. Look at it from what it means for common citizens. I represent District 1 on the Board of County Commissioners in Terre County, Dawson, Georgia. And right now, we have lost 1,655 people in that county. So do you think anybody want to come to Terre County, take Muskogee out and push us down to the state of Florida? You think anybody want to come to the 2nd Congressional District? I can answer you no. So I urge you, when you start looking and drawing these lines, take it into consideration. 2nd Congressional District, let it stay intact like it is. And I think it would benefit all of us and not one personal individual agenda. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield the best of my time.
Thank you. I would like to ask that we do not have interruptions like applause, because that takes away of time for people to comment. So if you could please withhold any kind of outbreak, that would be appreciated. Hank Young with Christy Haynes on deck. Hank Young, no comment? Okay. Christy Haynes.
Hey y'all, I'm Christy Haynes. I come to y'all tonight from Blakely, Early County. I'm the president of the Chamber of Commerce there. And I think I come from a very unique perspective. I was not blessed to grow up in Southwest Georgia like most of y'all in this room. I grew up in Marietta in the suburbs of Atlanta. Went to the University of Georgia and said, I want to move to a rural place. There are a lot of things that we do great down here. One of those is think regionally. I come to y'all tonight. I know that the House and Senate districts are going to be very hard to draw. I'm going to second Brad Hughes's comments earlier. In Early County, We don't mind if you draw us into a couple different House districts. In my opinion, the more representation, the better. We would love that from an economic development standpoint. We'd love to have some more representation. But from a congressional point of view, I do ask, as y'all move forward, that you do consider what you're putting into our district. As I sit on regional councils and boards, it's very hard to talk to people from Columbus and Albany when what's going on in Early County and what's happening in downtown Albany are completely different. We're trying very hard to build South Georgia into a place where people want to move to, but it's very difficult. And Columbus does not share a lot of the same things that is going on. And I know a lot of the men and women in this room understand that. So as you're moving forward with this, please call on us. We'd love to come talk to you. We'll drive to Atlanta. I'll drive to Atlanta. I still go see my parents. But we just ask that you do look at that and think about putting our communities, our ag communities together throughout South Georgia, because it is a big district. We understand you have to get enough people into it. We are losing people, but if you will just consider what types of people, ag, we would prefer that you keep ag all together because we do share a common interest. That's all I'm asking.
Thank you. Jamie Carter.
And just for the record, that'd be Jamie Cater, C-A-T-E-R. I could tell you a little joke about what my dad used to say about having 2 R's rather than 1 R, but I won't go there. I'm the mayor of Tifton, Georgia, and I just welcome you for this time that we can speak to you. I don't have any answers. I don't think anybody in this room has any answers. But I do have a couple of statements. South Georgia continues to lose seats. It's important as a region that we stay together. We have a team in place to protect our investment that the state has made in our economic future. It's all about economy, gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen. And we have the best of all worlds with our legislators, with Jay, Tony, and the judge. And I say that because I've known him since I was about this high. Y'all know Dickie Crosby. Judge John Crosby, I should say. And we just don't want to lose any, but then am I any different than anybody else that's sitting out there? I don't think so. Nobody wants to lose. I wish we could fit a square hole in a round peg. Like I said, I don't have the answers, but we're proud of what we do have, and we hope that we can continue to exist and have the flexibility to work things out so we can all get along together. I don't know if we have any shoulder room, folks. Like I said, I don't have the answers, but we can move a little bit to the west. I've got friends in Worth County. If we can move a little bit to the south, I've got friends in Cook County. Gosh, those counties are so much bigger than Tift. Tift is such a small geographic county. I don't see why we can't move and twist and shove and not hurt anybody, but just keep us status quo. And I thank you for this time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. With that, we do not have anybody else that is signed up to give comments. I said that we would try to stop about 6 o'clock to give the opportunity if there's anybody here that might want to do that. Before I do that, if we get the microphone, I do know we had some additional members of the General Assembly that have showed up. Let's take that opportunity to let them introduce themselves and what district they're from. If you have not already introduced yourself, if you'd raise your hand, members of the General Assembly. I know that Leader Brown is over here. Okay.
I'm Representative Barbara Reese from House District 11, which is most of Floyd County, my home county of Chattooga. And the last time that I was in Albany, I chaired the committee that held public hearings on the dangers of methamphetamines. And I appreciate your turnout then, and I appreciate your turnout today and your interest in your community.
I'm Jay Powell. I represent all of Mitchell County and approximately half of Colquitt County. It's District 171, and I've been in the legislature for 3 years now.
I'm Representative Darlene Taylor from Thomas and Grady County.
State Senator Robert Brown, District 26.
Good evening. State Representative Winfred Dukes. I represent Baker County and Albany. Thank you all for coming.
Any other members of the General Assembly that have not had opportunity to introduce? Okay, with that, what we're going to do, since we don't have any other individuals that have signed up to comment, how about we take about a 10-minute break, so if anybody gets emboldened, they can go back to the back of the room, sign up, and then we'll come back and hear those comments. We'll make sure that everybody has an opportunity to have your comments spoken here. So let's come back about 6 o'clock. Thank you. Take their seats. Next time I won't give you a break to go get a drink of water.
You want to introduce him?
We're going to find somebody that does get attention real quick. Thank you very much. I'd like to give the university president an opportunity to introduce himself and his staff, and I believe he has a very special guest we'd like to introduce.
Good evening. It's my pleasure as president of Albany State University to welcome all of the members of the General Assembly, and thank you for what you do on behalf of Albany State University, to thank our two leaders who I understand are traveling with great vigor and interest in terms of this process of democracy. Thank you for what you're doing. And members of the Southwest Georgia community, thank all of you for coming out to Albany State University to participate in this momentous democratic process. We will be a better state because of what you do. Thank you.
You forgot to introduce your special guest.
Two special guests. I got to introduce my wife. I'm in big trouble, Joe Freeman. And the other guest is the president of our Student Government Association, who came from his vacation to be here because of his regard of the importance of this, Clarence Washington. Mr. President.
Everybody can go home and say they were with the president, can't they? All right. Again, we're here until 7 o'clock. We've advertised to be here from 5 to 7, so there may be people that will be coming in late, and we're just going to be here, so you're free to come and go as you please. If you want to make any comments, please go sign in. We have two additional, since the break that we took, John White and Reverend Holly is on deck. Mr. White.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I want to say hello to my former colleagues. As many of you know, I was in the House of Representatives for a little over 20 years. So, Mr. Chairman, I go back to 1972 from that drawing of the lines, 72, 82, and 92. So I'm really kind of the reason some of y'all are here. We drew the lines properly. I simply want to say to you, those of you who came from afar across the state, welcome to Albany, and many of you were in the House when I was there. I certainly served with Mr. Yates here, who will be 90, as it said, in a few months from now. But those of you who worked with us in the 70s, 79 and 80, we have, and I know some of you are staying over at the Hilton Inn downtown. There are several members of you who were there at the time that we made the Ray Charles, Georgia on My Mind, the official state song. And across the street from the Hilton Hotel, we've established what is called the Ray Charles Plaza. And this is the home of Ray Charles as you did back in those days. So thank you for that. I know well your task as a committee and as members of the legislature to draw these reapportionment lines and do the redistricting for our state. There are just a couple of questions that I'll leave these with you. Answer them now, you may answer them later, or I will send them in to you. That how will this process work since an independent council is now been basically in control? As we understand it, the legislature has hired some high-powered attorneys to basically draw these lines. When I was there, those 3 different times, the legislators hammered all of that out and listened to their people in their districts. Now that we have high-paid and high-powered legislators will certainly make some of those decisions. And that is the question that I have. And how will the individuals of Georgia, certain groups or individuals, impact this legislation, or will that plans that we might present be considered? And thirdly, will influence districts be preserved? Those are three of the questions, and the other one is, will the opportunity for minority voters to elect candidates be enhanced where possible? I know you probably have this on tape, so it's important that we have those questions answered as we move forward in this process. And anybody here who thinks this is not a political process, then you have another thing coming. Those people who are in charge of drawing these lines, including those who have been hired to help draw these lines.
Time's up.
5 minutes?
3 minutes.
Oh, you cut me to 3 minutes. I'm sorry.
No, everybody was 3 minutes.
All right, thank you.
Apparently you weren't here at the beginning. I apologize.
not. Thank you
And
very
we
much.
said 3 minutes for comments for everybody.
Thank you.
But you can submit your comments to the committee. Reverend Holly.
Mr. Chairman, and to all of God's children who have assembled themselves here this afternoon, thank you all for coming down here in Albany State University to hear our opinions. I serve as state committee chair. I live over in Terrell County, Dawson, Georgia. I'm a Democrat, and I'm a proud Democrat. I would like to say, I heard a long time ago that whom can best work together can best agree. We're trying to keep, and hopefully that you will join us and try to keep communities together and working together. The 2nd Congressional District is well represented, and I certainly hope that we can keep it together. And we would like for the lines to be drawn, just draw the lines fairly and transparently, that it will be fair to all of the people of the 2nd Congressional District.
Okay. Has anybody else signed up? We have nobody else signed up. Does this mean we're going to take another break? Does anybody want to go sign up real quick? The reason why we gave the break is, being a Baptist, I understand sometimes when they have the altar call, people are a little nervous getting up and walking down in front of everybody. So that's why we have that, to give you an opportunity to be emboldened to go back and sign up if you have any comments. So with that, I have 6:10. Let's go ahead and take another 10-minute break. Again, I apologize for doing this, but we advertised to be here from 5 to 7 to give everybody the opportunity to come and make comments. So we're going to be here to 7 o'clock, but without any speakers, you don't want to listen to me talk. So we'll take another 10-minute break, come back at 6:20. But please, when we come back, if you come back quickly, I'd appreciate it. Everybody could please take their seats. We do have additional speakers. If everybody could please take their seats, I have additional speakers. Please take your seats. If everybody would please take your seats and cease conversations. If everybody could please take their seats and cease conversations. Maybe if you would do that, you could show us, members of the General Assembly, exactly how it's supposed to be done. If anybody has visited the state capitol, they might appreciate that comment a little bit better. Again, if you've just arrived and you want to make comments, we're here till 7 o'clock. Please sign in on the sign-in sheet at the very back. In order to give everybody an opportunity to speak and to be fair to everybody that's spoken, not at this meeting but others, we're limiting comments to 3 minutes. But you do have the opportunity to submit your comments in writing to the committee. With that, thank you very much. Gloria Gaines with Hampton Smith on deck. And excuse me, I forgot. When you come up, please say your name and where you're from so that we can have that for the record, because all this is being recorded.
Babe, stop, okay? I think you're reading too much into this, you know? I think you're still doing a great job. He didn't yell at you, did he? I think you're probably reading too much into it, baby.
We didn't spill any secrets there, did we? Are you ready to proceed?
Is it back on?
The mic is on, yes.
Oh, okay. All right. I hope we trace that other mic down for something embarrassing got said. Okay. Gloria, if you'll start all over, please.
Start all over. I simply said that I know that it's probably political naivete to say what I'm about to say, but I'm going to do it anyway because I am pretty naive. My name is Gloria Gaines. I'm from Albany. But in this day of computer technology, and with all the bright and smart and clever folks we have at our many universities and some of our technology companies here, I would like to see the first step of this committee be to design a computer program that would objectively draw these lines. If you write a computer program and put in all the requirements of the Voting Rights Act, one man, one vote, you put in equal distribution, you put in whatever geographic requirements are, you can write a program that would just take away all of the political considerations and draw some objective lines. And to me, that would at least be the start. And I think it would give some confidence to citizens that at least here is something, you know, this computer program drew these lines and did not respect the political boundaries. And it would be something to measure what you guys do against. So please consider that.
And they said man wouldn't walk on the moon either. Hampton Smith with Judy Jones on deck.
Good evening. Chair, my name is Hampton Smith from Albany, Georgia. I've been living in Georgia 41 years, and a lot have happened during those 41 years. But now we have an opportunity to correct a lot of things. Now, my way of thinking is that I am on the side of right and fair. And I think during this process, we need to do the right thing and be fair. See, in this state, we got North Georgia, we got Bullitt, Georgia, that's Atlanta area, and then we got Forgotten, Georgia, below Macon. And we need to correct that. We need to work together. The people that are responsible for redoing these districts was elected by the people. You're supposed to represent all the people, not one powerful group. If you would have God in your heart, the people that's charged with this responsibility, when they go to bed at night, wake up the next day and say, I'm going to be fair and I'm going to do the right thing.
Thank you. Judy Jones with Kelvin Bowie Sr. on deck.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Judy Jones, Mr. Chairpersons, and to all of the Legislative General Assembly members here today, to our President, Dr. Freeman. I am a student of Albany State University. And I want to come to you, I got to talk fast, I have a lot to say. I want to come to you from a different perspective. This is my first time, and it's an interesting experience with sitting in with this. I am a political science undergrad and a public administration master's, and I want to come to you from the perspective of, I grew up in Fort Myers, Florida. I moved to Thomas County, Georgia with my family as an adult. And I came to Albany, Georgia. I moved here in 2003. Now, growing up in Fort Myers, Florida, we heard about Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi as I was growing up as a child. Well, recently I had an opportunity. When I moved to Georgia, I lived in Atlanta for a number of years, so I've had quite a bit of experience. And I had the pleasure of being a 2005 intern with the General Assembly, and I really enjoyed that experience. I want to say that I had to go by what I heard mostly, but studying, when I came here as a student, I got to study Georgia government, and it was very interesting. And I want to say I had the opportunity just recently to go to a graduation over in Troy, Alabama, and traveling through Georgia, going through Alabama, and my remarks to my family was, look at this dirt. I mean, it's like hard. I'm not putting Alabama down. I'm not doing that. I'm saying my comments. I said, this dirt is so hard. No wonder the people had such a hard time farming. And I said, it's not like that in Georgia. We have rich soil where we can grow things. And I really love Georgia. I love Georgia. I really do. I would not move back to Fort Myers, Florida for any amount of money. I don't know about love, but no money. However, I want to say what I studied in the books is what is done after this meeting. The redistricting is going to be what the young people study. Future generations are going to study whatever's happening here today when those lines are drawn, and we want our young people to get the impression, to get the feeling that they really know what they're doing, that they consider everybody in Georgia. That's my experience. with redistricting. I don't have much, but it is so important because everything that's done is going to be written in a book, and our young people are going to read it. And what I heard as a child, what I saw since I've been an adult, and what I got to see in Alabama, Alabama haven't changed much as far as the soil.
Good
But
time.
I feel that Georgia is a beautiful state. I love Georgia, I love people, and I love the people of Georgia. And I want our young people to have that same experience and same feeling. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelvin Bowie Sr. Again, if anybody wants to speak, please sign up in the back. If nobody signs up, we'll be taking another break.
Brother Chairman, and the members here today, being one of the new kids on the block, trying to get my head grasped around everything what's going on in the redistricting and the power struggle between the Democrats and the Republicans and all of the stuff, I just want to say, as long as everything is done fairly, then that's what I stand for. And as long as we do everything fairly and everybody's treated fairly, regardless of where you come from or what you do in life, then everything will be okay. We know what we need in Southwest Georgia, and that's jobs. If we can get some jobs down here and we can get everything taken care of and then drawing the redistricting and everything, we'll be all right, as long as everything is done fairly. That's why I just want to say, just do it fairly.
Thank you. Has anybody else signed up? I'm getting a no. It is 6:31. How about we take another 10-minute break? Again, if anybody wants to sign up, please sign up at the back. And we'll take 10 minutes. We'll come back and have a speaker or two and then wind it up. Thank you. Our 10 minutes is up. If everybody could please take their seats and cease conversations. If everybody could please take their seats. If everybody would please take their seats. Gerald. Nobody has signed up. Nobody has signed up. Nobody has signed up. Gerald is trying to get somebody to sign up back there right now to speak. Nobody has signed up. Oh, look at here. You never know who you will stumble in. Anybody else want to speak? I guess I could go person by person and ask you, and if there's nobody that wants to speak, then I guess we'll, what? If you'll go sign up, you can speak, Senator. Everybody can. If you want to speak, sign up. So does it mean you want to speak? In due course, okay. Anybody else want to speak? We're giving everybody an opportunity. How many times have I said, does anybody want to speak? Again, all this is being recorded, so. Well, with that, I think I will turn the mic over to Chairman Lane for some closing comment.
All right, everybody. On behalf of both committees, of the one from the House and one from the Senate on reapportionment, we appreciate and thank you all for being here and being such a civil discussion about redistricting and being a part of that. It really helps our committee members a lot, and it helps y'all's community a lot to see what you have put forth in these hearings around the state. And we appreciate y'all taking time out of your schedules to be here to give us your input. From this public hearing today, we're going on to Valdosta for tomorrow night, and we'll be scheduled for the same time, 5 till 7. If any of y'all have family or friends down that area, it encompasses the whole Valdosta area. If you have any friends down there that you think would like to participate or just come sit in and listen to the exciting presentations and everything, we'd appreciate you letting them know it. And finally, at the end of all these public hearings, we've got 8 more of them scheduled around the state. We will start the redistricting process late in the summer. All those meetings will be open to you, the public, and you can participate and you can see what we're doing. It's going to be an open and transparent process for the public to be involved in, and we encourage you to be paying attention to us and to give us your ideas as we go forth after we have all these hearings. This shouldn't stop your participation. And all of our meetings on the House side are broadcast on the internet, so you can go to the Georgia General Assembly website, to the House website, and see us as we have committee meetings and what we're discussing and what maps we're looking at. And we also encourage your input through our website that we gave you the address to it earlier, but www.legis.ga.gov. If you can't remember that, you can Google Georgia General Assembly and go to the bottom of the page, and it will have a joint redistricting public hearing that you can click on. That will take you directly to that site. And we encourage you, if you have comments or questions that you want to pose to our committees for us to be considering as we go through that, we'd encourage you to do that. We do appreciate y'all being here again. I appreciate the members of the committee for being here and participating by listening very intently to what was said. And I know that we'll have some lively discussion amongst the House members and on the Senate side when we get to the actual committee meetings to look at maps. But we appreciate all y'all being here. It's a very vital process, and we thank you a lot. And with that, I think we're probably going to adjourn.
Ask one more time.
Anybody else signed up while we were chit-chatting? Oh, everybody left. Okay. Any objection if we go ahead and adjourn right now? Hearing none, we're in adjournment. Thank you all very much.